Assalamualaikum. My name is Nushifa binti Mat Yaziz, 2018644568, and I'm going to explain the definition of the recruitment and selection. Okay. The recruitment and selection process means which a company recognizes that a position is available, analyzes the duties required for the job, sources applicants to apply for the job, and then searches for the most qualified person in the applicant pool. While the main objective of the process is to fill a vacancy with the best possible candidate, each step of the process has its own individual objectives. The recruitment process also involves using the data analysis to determine where and how to source new recruits and then going about the process of sourcing them. This could be achieved through reviewing resumes, scheduling and performing interviews, performing any pre-hiring tasks, and eventually choosing the best candidate. Finding people who will fit in with the company culture and contribute to the organization's goals. This is because it is necessary to find the most suitable fresh workers that could fulfill the requirement of the job position in order to avoid defects during the work process. Moreover, finding a good one could save a lot of cost and could lessen the efforts to train the fresh worker capabilities as the workers has already qualified the requirements well. Next is the main objective of recruitment policies to ensure that the recruitment and selection process is unbiased and transparent. Directly, this could avoid any mistake in choosing the workers. Next is ensuring that you appoint the best candidate based only on the individual's merit and compatibility with their organization's values, goals, and culture. It is to ensure the job description and hiring process meet your company requirements. And lastly, it is to guarantee that at every stage of the selection process, all candidates are assessed against the same consistent selection criteria. So the recruitment and selection process in managing the organization is important to ensure that the organization runs smoothly.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Hasanah binti Helmi. I'm going to proceed with the importance of selection. So, selection process is important for an organization as it helps to enhance organization productivity. Selected candidates or employee eventually will help organization to achieve its goals. For an examples, organization productivity will increase when the right, competent, and loyal employees are selected to reach organization goals. This is happen when selected candidates produce productive results and stay with the organization longer and resulted in low employee turnover. Therefore, if selection are not carefully done, the recruited employee may not competent and tend to make mistake which leads to a financial loss. So next, it is important to make selection because it will increase reliability and accuracy of the recruitment of the employees. Selection process will have a background and reference checks after face-to-face interview with the candidates since they want to ensure that information given is reliable and not fraud. This is because there are many current cases which candidates and applicants tend to fraud their certificate and document. Thus, selection process will ensure the submitted certificate and document are recognized by the issuing unit. If they found that the certificate and document are not reliable and accurate, thus they can eliminate the applicant to prevent organization hire the unqualified employee. Okay, last but not least, the importance of selection process is saving time and cost. This is because when an organization doing the preliminary interview or selection, it will help to reduce time and effort. This is happen when they can eliminate weak candidates for the next interview or recruitment process. Therefore, for an example, selection via phone call will not cost as much as compared to face-to-face interview. Despite it helps to save time and cost, selection process directly increase the efficiency of selection process. Thank you.
I am Sabrina Natasha binti Isha. I'm going to proceed with the selection process. There are 4 stages in the selection process. The first one is the process of screening. The selection process often begins with an initial screening of applicants to remove individuals who obviously do not meet the position requirement. At this stage, a few straightforward questions are asked. An applicant may obviously be unqualified to fill the advertised position, but be well qualified to work in other open positions. The purpose of screening is to decrease the number of applicants being considered for selection. Personal resume presented with the job application is considered a source of information that can be used for the initial screening process. The next process is the process of interview. In this process, the one-on-one session with the candidate is conducted to gain more insights about him. Here, the interviewer asks a question from the applicant to discover more about him and also to give him the accurate picture of the kind of a job he is required to perform. Through this session, the briefing of certain organizational policies is done, which is crucial in the performance of the job. Besides, the process of selection are also involving the post-interview screening. In this process, it involving the process of checking references, employment tests, and medical examination. One of it, if we may discuss, it is on medical examination. Here, the physical and mental fitness of the candidate are checked to ensure that he is capable of performing the job. In some organizations, the medical examination is done at the very beginning of the selection process, while in some cases, it is done after the final selection. The last one is the selection decision. In this final process, the candidate who qualifies all the rounds of a selection process is given the appointment to later to join the organization. The actual hiring decision should be made by the manager in the department where the vacancy exists. The selection process results should be made known to the candidates either successful or not as soon as possible. Any delay may result in the firm losing a prime candidate, as top prospects often have other employment options. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Nur Aisyah binti Mustafa. So today I will present on the common issue occur during selection process. The first issue is unconscious bias in selection process. Unconscious bias can be defined as discriminatory or unsupported judgment against a person or group which is considered as unfair treatment. Unconscious bias often occur in selection process. This is because selection process involving many people to evaluate the candidate. Unconscious bias usually arise during interview, testing phase, and job application based on the candidate's resume. The common unconscious bias in selection process occur because of stereotyping by the interviewer. Stereotyping refers to the situation when people create a judgment to individual based on gender, race, culture, religion, and other characteristics. Thus, unconscious bias must be prevented because of the negative effect towards the job applicant and also company. The next issue is relying too much on interview in selection process. So selection process that is relying too much on interview will cause the interviewer focusing on negative information, immature decision, and inconsistent question. The interviewer tend to focus on searching negative information to find fault in themselves. The job applicant will start with the negative question that will affect the interview. Not only that, interviewer have make a quick decision when the job applicant are meet with job requirement based on their own personal impression. The question asked to the job applicant are different because of their personal judgmental. The inconsistency question during interview cause unfair result for the job applicant. The question may be inconsistent either to be positive or negative based on their impression. The last issue is provide false information in selection device. The common issue during selection process is job applicant provide false or inaccurate information on resume or online assessment. Job applicant usually like to achieve self-esteem, motivation, and personal control during selection process. Providing inaccurate reference on resume is an unethical behavior because of the dishonesty action. Providing false information in the resume is illegal and face high possibilities to get sued and fired from the job. Some of employers check the reference in the resume to validate the information. The high competition lead to stress for job applicant to get offer for the job. Thus, the issue online information during selection process become increased.
Now, I will continue with the recommendations on selection process. First, use structured interviews to solve unconscious bias. Unstructured interviews tend to flow like a conversation, while structured interviews ensure that a specific list of questions is addressed in the same way to each candidate. In the structured interview, which consists of a list of pre-agreed questions, the candidates will be asked the same question in the same order as the previous candidates that interviewing for the same position. The structured interviews have been proven to be almost twice as effective in predicting the performance of employees once they have been hired. Second, get the applicant to talk can avoid interviewing problems. To learn as much as possible about a job applicant is the main purpose of an interview. This can be achieved by asking the applicant to talk. A friendly and open relationship with the applicant at the beginning of the interview can be established with some brief comments on the organization and employment. Then it needs to be switched to a pre-planned question format. The content must be listened carefully, find answers to all questions and check for inconsistencies. So, taught by the applicant during the interview can solve interviewing problems. Third, being prepared can be avoid false information provided by applicant. A clear and uniform policy about the consequence of providing false information should be applied on an application. A disclaimer must be put near the signature line on the job application by each standard. The applicants need to be acknowledged that providing incorrect, misleading, or inaccurate information on the application, on the resume, or during an interview is a reason for disqualification or termination if already hired by signing the application. Thus, false information provided by the applicant can be avoided by always being prepared.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Anizaira. In conclusion, selection process is when we identify a candidate that has experience and ability to fill the job as well as someone who shares and upholds the core value of the company. Through selection process, company can be provided with employee that can adapt and work well with others to avoid high turnover among employees. Besides, function of selection provides an important opportunities to focus on the potential of the candidate that can be given to the company. The interview process also given the opportunities to express the company vision, purpose and need. Last but not least, It is important that the interview receive response from applicants as measured by the expectation of the position. Organization might end up with turnover, misunderstanding, and dissatisfaction of the employee if they do not use the interviews to eliminate applicants who did not fit the company culture. Thank you from us.